for the week,
All right.
right?
Sort of like they understand the complexity as the #1 seed. They're going into it, and you don't try to topple Goliath immediately.
Exactly.
You work towards it.
Yeah, I think that they're just kind of content with it. So taking a look at the options here, Serket gone, no shocker. 5 Angry Men actually taking the first pick. I really hope this isn't a bad set like I was afraid of, but Athena's gone as well. Complexity knows how strong she is.
Yeah, I mean, Athena is just super strong. Complexity really likes to play her. Everybody sort of likes to play her, so they're going to watch out for that one. 5 Angry Men, they went ahead and banned out Nemesis, so they want to make sure that that jungle is tough. But we see a swap. 5 Angry Men going for Order, so they get first pick.
Yeah. Now, Bastet's gone, so take that, Shing. So Nemesis is going to be there. So, I guess the underlying story here could just kind of be that 5 Angry Men knows that Complexity knows how they play. So they're just like, screw it, whatever, right?
Right.
So first pick here is going to be Thor. I have yet to see Shing's Thor. I am very, very intrigued. It's kind of his play style, but in the same time, it's not.
It's really... I'm going to go ahead and say it's really not his play style. He has a Thor. He plays it well. I mean, Shing is a very successful professional Smite jungler. He has a Thor that he can play at an acceptable level, right? He's not going to completely, he won't be, Thorgars, but he is definitely very strong on the character. Sylvanas and Bakasura picked up on the other side. Isis, one more time, pick up for 5 Angry Men. I kind of thought they would go in a different direction, as I sort of alluded to at the end of the first game's broadcast, but looks like they're going to stick to it in this game, too. Thor, Ymir. Isis. Interesting draft, nothing too crazy.
Pretty decent synergy.
Yep, nothing too outstanding, just pretty good stuff. Bakasura on Complexity, that has to go to Kiki. Or, my mistake, that has to go to Solo Lane.
Oh, yeah. It's got to be. I mean, it's safe to say that Kiki felt okay with Ra in that last matchup. He seemed to get a little bit of confidence going out with there. Bakasura is going to be very, very hard for anyone 5 Angry Men to deal with, especially in lane. Right. So you could kind of go Afro so you have Undying Love, which means that you can eat the level 5 ultimate that Bakasura is going to throw out at you, because if he doesn't get a kill, he's a little bit behind, so it could be Afro. I would be okay with Afro, I think.
It could be Afro. I prefer Afro on teams with a hyper carry, where it's protect the Artemis, protect the Freya, protect the Kali, exactly.
How have we not seen a Kali today?
People have been going for characters that do more than just one thing.
No!
And Thanatos is the definition of a character that does more than one thing. Early game, we're going to see Thanatos.
He just does one thing.
Early game, we're going to see Thanatos is an interesting pick. I like the Thanatos in this situation, and I'll tell you why. Ymir, Thor, they're both going to build somewhat tanky. Ymir's going to build incredibly tanky. Isis is going to... Okay, there's an Anubis. I'm done.
What?
So Shing's Loki, here's the thing. Okay. If Shing plays Loki, which I really hope he does.
Shing's not playing Loki. Shing's playing Thor. This is an
Loki.
Anubis. No, this is a Loki Hunter. This is a Anubis solo or mid. And
or
then
jungle.
An Isis solo or mid. All I know is this. It kind of feels like a troll.
I mean, I don't think they're trolling. I think they're experimenting new things. Because, like you said, Scott, they're comfortable at where they're at.
Yeah.
They understand the complexity. #1, they got they got trounced in round 1. That was really rough. And I think I'm not going to say that 5 Angry Men are throwing in the towel and but they understand that they might not win this match. They're comfortable with it, and they're going to try something fringe. So I respect it. This is where you get the opportunity to try something like that. Scrims, I mean, again, I'm going to reference you being a pro player. The difference, you can practice all you want in scrims, but once you're on that stage, once you're in that competition, it's different.
It's a very good point.
This is an interesting comp that they want to milk and nurture. You can practice it all you want in scrims. When you're in the finals of your qualifier, it's a lot different. So I'm going to go ahead, give them the benefit of the doubt, and say they're trying something different. Okay. I'd like to see Loki in the jungle because Shing plays a phenomenal Loki.
But you don't put Thor
stuff.
anywhere.
Thor could play solo or something. weird. Here it is. Shing's going to be on the Thor, and we'll see the Loki as Madman Mark. There you go. Madman Mark played a lot with Zapman. We talked a lot about Zapman bring Loki in the dual lane. That's what we're going to see. So, allied on the Apollo. A lot of people saying Apollo was not what he used to be with the wave clear changes, but...
Well, he got a little bit of buff when Season 2 went live, but in the PTS, he was very, very weak. Now, there's only one way Thanatos works on a competitive team in a competitive match.
Okay.
And that is you invade early, you hit your scythe, you steal your buffs.
Right.
You can't ever go passive. You have to always have the pedal to the floor.
Yes.
There's no stopping. There's no going back.
No.
You just go. You know, one gear.
Yes. Thanatos, so again, I like Thanatos, but I like Thanatos in a very specific situation. Shing needs to build tanky, Shadow Q needs to build tanky, and Mace to the Face needs to build a Warlock Sesh, or the best needs to build a Warlock Sesh in order to really make this count. Because what happens is, as you said, early game Thanatos wants to invade. Early game Thanatos wants to be a hyper carry. He is the hyperest of the carriest in the early game on this Thanatos. And then once mid-game comes, he doesn't really do much. And late game, he's going to execute the players that can't be killed. Hercules, Ymir, Mace, the best who's got the heal. Players that are hard to kill, that's what he wants to look for. So he transitions 3 different ways, 3 different faces on this Thanatos. It's incredibly misunderstood. We'll see if it works out for complexity here, or if 5 Angry Men just don't have that tanky of a lineup.
Now this is interesting that Shing and Isis have decided to go from blue buff to speed buff. Now, the reason behind this is due to the fact that Weaken is notorious for invading, and when you put him on Thanatos, it's a very easy steal. So Weaken now is just going to go ahead and rotate back, take their back harp, steal that XP, and might look to do a little bit of damage into Anubis. Anubis is like dead to rights to Thanatos.
Yeah, I mean, basically with the Thanatos ultimate, the way it works, Thanatos ults on you, he stuns you, he hits you with the Death Scythe, which is an incredible amount of damage. That's what makes him a hyper carry early on. Oof. Look at that. It's 33% of his HP. Once Thanatos hits level 5, this Anubis can't do anything in the middle lane at all.
He really can't. And so one of the reasons why we're starting to see Thanatos be played a little bit more is due to the change in Aegis. So now when you get executed, you can't just Aegis and not take any damage. You actually have to eat the scythe to the face. Speaking of to the face, Weaken. He did not pop the 2. He probably didn't put a point in it yet. He's looking for the scythe. And Mace to the face is just going to take this. As he's just going to try to run away. He's got the scythe, and that's going to be 1, and that's going to be 2.
And that's a problem. Yesterday, Smite Pro, famous for tweeting out GIFs. They tweeted out this GIF of a man turning into an airplane and said that's the feeling when Kali gets first blood. That's also the feeling when Thanatos gets first blood. And already he's feeling it. He might just turn into an airplane here. It's got level 4, it looks like. Not even as the ultimate. And once he gets to level 5, as we said, he's just dead.
So this is interesting, right? So, oh God, Shing just catching the scythe to the dome. So what's interesting here is that since they have a Thanatos, they're actually putting pressure on this mid tower. Traditionally, we see wave get shoved, and then they kind of go backwards.
Oh my God.
Weaken's got another person, and this is, I don't see Isis making it out of this one unless he hits an amazing stun.
Yeah, and see that's another thing that I really like about the Thanatos pickup. He's a direct counter to the best and Shing. Berserker's Barrage gets silenced. Wingust gets silenced. That's the majority of the damage. And Weaken picks up the best just like that. That'll give him level 5. He now has Hovering Death, the Execute, but we're going to see it as a setup more often, more likely in this beginning. So right now, 3-0 before the 3-minute mark. Complexity up by 1,000 gold already. This is what you want, scratch that, need when you pick a Thanatos. You need this game to happen this way.
I really needed this to not happen. He's going to be in all of my games now, man.
I'll be the Thanatos. I will be the Thanatos, and you already know it. But, I mean, like I said, he picked him into Shadow Q and Shing, and the best going tanky, and the best and Shing being able to be silenced. It is, and Loki can be silenced out of stealth. Thanatos is the pick for this comp.
He is. And as bad as this is going to pain me to say it, Thanatos is probably going to have a much higher win rate this season than he did last year due to the change in Aegis, but also just due to the fact that people love the early game pressure. They adapted to it finally, which is weird because we've gone into a late game meta.
Yeah, it is a little weird. You know, the Aegis will help him out a little bit. The lack of penetration boots because his #2 gives him penetration passively or actively. That'll help him out a little bit.
He's hunting.
None of that will really boost him or catapult him to like the forefront of the game.
No.
It's, as I'm notorious for saying, Thanatos is a complex, misunderstood character, and complexity is showing us that they understand him.
Is he gonna
multiple
take to the sky?
silenceable things, multiple gods that they want to execute on. Great choice right here.
Oh, he's in the skies.
Yeah.
Thanatos is looking.
No,
No, he's not in the skies. I thought he was going to go.
Nah, they were under their tower.
body.
Level 6 doesn't really want to risk it, especially when you get that lead. It's you want to play the lead and do aggressive
Go time.
things, and here he is.
He comes diving in. Shadow Cube's just going to get erased. Looking for a scythe as well. Face to the face, blocked
Shing.
by minions. Just rip.
Shing did get a kill in that scrum, so that's a good one. But there comes Allied! Don't forget, he's global, and he's going to go for the best, not quite. And that's interesting. We haven't mentioned that at all.
Yeah.
The best
Apollo?
is playing Isis.
Oh, yeah.
Not Mace to the face.
Yeah. Then why?
Okay.
Why? Like, well, but
There it is. That's what I'm talking about.
yeah.
That's
that
your burst
interaction
as
is big.
Isis, and you don't have any against the Thanatos. A well-played Thanatos is going to shut down the burst from Isis and the burst from Thor with Berserker's
sure.
Barrage. And Loki goes stealth? No, he's not.
Yep.
That's what's going to happen. Great plays coming out from Weekend.
Oh, Weekend. This is the dead best. Look at him. Regurgitate on top of Size. Yeah, he stood no chance. Now, Thor is rotating over here. He knows Regurgitate's down. Is Shing gonna... Shing doesn't. He didn't even try. He was just like, tower's gone.
Yeah, with the tower gone, there really wasn't any hope.
Doesn't it kind of remind you of Lassus in the jungle, the way he moves with Thor?
Yeah.
Shank, like he just is always jumping.
Well, I mean, that's Shing's thing before
Yeah.
Laz's, I gotta say.
Was it?
Shing is always jumping around, just having a good time. I mean, when Mercury first came out, it's like the only character Shing played, and I can't tell you the amount of times the Mercury jump with his hands in the air where he looks ridiculous, that's all you saw. That's all you saw.
So he wasn't good with Mercury due to the passive.
Exactly.
That's never fun.
Mid-camp's going to spawn. Going to see a little bit of congestion. Early silence.
Ooh.
Down comes the ultimate, but it doesn't matter. Kiki picks up a kill on the Ra. 2 people in the air. Where are they going to go? Down comes Weekend. Thor is nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, he's going to go for the buff instead of the kill.
Like
he wasn't going to chase the Thor anyways, so now he's going to look. He spotted those players. He saw them.
Yep.
They could go for a Gold Fear if they really wanted to. You see
I think it's a little
Bakasura
early.
actually rotated as well. But Weekend, he's got no problem taking mid-harps and then rotating back.
Yep. So they went for the mid-harpies and then went for the fight instead, something that we see Eager do a lot with the Fire Giant. They go ahead and get it.
Ooh.
Good hits coming out from Loki, but not enough. Incon gets the kill on Shadow Cube.
How many times have we said Incon gets a kill, right? I mean, this guy is something special, where he is not only living and doing everything he can. When you dial it back, I mean, he got that Gold Fury steal. On top of that, he's getting these kills and supports, which isn't always a good thing, but he's just always in the right position.
I mean, one of the biggest things one of the biggest differences, Scott, of Season 1 Incon and Season 2 Incon, Incon's picking up kills here when he can. Last season, we saw him just take the kills.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and not necessarily to, like, mess with Allied,
That's
but
a good
now
point.
we get to see Allied go 7-1 or 11-1. We don't see him 0-2 and 30, which is how we used to see Allied in the Hunter role. So Incon is really, and that's a skill, right? It's not Incon being over-aggressive. It's Incon taking the kill because he wants to secure it, right? So learning how to balance that, it took a whole season for them, and it worked out. They're balancing it out. They're understanding how each other work, and they're doing it live.
Allied looking down, Madman Mark. He's like, hey, by the way, I got range. So how this interaction works is the decoy comes out, grouping up Allied's minions. Allied then is forced to clear out. And since the clear is got nerfed on all hunters, it's very, very hard for him to contest this. So it's not surprising to see Loki in the duo lane at all. Probably going to see him more often than not. Or, well, actually, no. 6-slotted hunters. just
Well,
feels
see,
too
the thing
good.
I like about Loki as a dual lane, even more so than the solo lane, Loki doesn't have to fight a hunter. which means as we see a Heartseeker picked up, Loki can buy a Transcendence in the dual lane. Because he doesn't have to fight. The reason you don't buy Transcendence in the dual lane as a hunter is because the other guy's going to buy Devo Gloves or Heartseeker before you. 600 gold more. You can't fight, so you can't contest. Buy the cheaper item. Loki doesn't even want to fight. So we see the Heartseeker picked up here. Not a bad choice, but you have the option to buy the Transcendence, which is definitely... Have you ever seen a Loki with a Transcendence?
Yeah.
Towers melt.
Speaking of getting melted, Regurgitate's going to be there as well. Shadow Q on you.
Shadow who?
Did he get that pull? No, he didn't.
Just barely missed it.
Kiki's going to dodge a stun as well. Thanatos up in the sky. Where's he going to go? Is he really committing all the way over there? Okay, he came crashing down. Cyclone Spin's like, okay, listen, Madman Mark, I like you and all, but you are
read. Good.
He forced the ultimate too.
Yeah,
that's good. Good play, ulting. Good play, forcing the ult as well.
Yeah, I mean, the Loki went invisible. Cyclone Spin knew exactly the path he was going to take and jumped on top of him. Just kept left clicking. Woo! Beautiful read coming out from the solo laner of Complexity. 9 minutes and 40 seconds into this contest. 11-1 is the score, and lots and lots of lead on the way of Complexity.
Yeah, and it's it's looking really good for Complexity. I mean, you take a look at the scoreboard, it's 11-1. You can see them just have like complete control. If 5 Angry Men all kind of grouped around this Fire Giant is just going to spawn, they're actually going for it here. Okay, so this is interesting.
10-minute Fire Giant.
A surrender vote has started. And that, wow.
That's a 10-minute Fire Giant. That's a 10-minute game. 2-0. Complexity takes it. 10 minutes.